Remember back in January when a group of Redditors drove up the price of GameStop?
It was discombobulating. It was disturbing. Like, what the hell is going on?
I'm Annie Minoff, and I also wanted to know what was going on. Since then, I've talked to dozens of people and learned the full story of how a Reddit forum fueled a massive stock surge. One that took Wall Street totally by surprise.
I should have known. Yes, I should have, but I did not.
Follow our 5-part series on The Journal, Sundays starting May 30th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Discovery Plus has what you're hungry for, with new original series and a supersized collection of favorites. It's the largest collection of food shows anywhere, all for only $4.99. Discovery Plus, the streaming home of food, plus so much more. Start your free trial.
Don't adjust that dial, because you're listening to Summer of Love 4, Time for Love, a special podcast event from 2 Chunks and a Hunk.
We've got time for love if we make it. Nothing can stop us or break it. Passion soars on wings like eagles, singing from above. If all that we have left is time, I think it's time for love.
Hello and welcome to 2 Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I am your chunk.
I'm Doge, and you know Pac-Man? Well, Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. They changed it not because Pac-Man looks like a hockey puck. Paku means hunk your mouth, and they were afraid people would scratch out the P and turn it into an F.
And I'm Carter. And if you want something bad, you have to fight for it. Step up your game, Scott. Break out the L word. Chunk? The other L word. Chunkies?
Wow.
Can you tell the word that I put in there?
No, I
what I
actually
mixed up?
that was a real quote from the movie.
Was it Scott?
You forgot to say it. That's wild.
I don't know. I just took a guess. That's crazy. Hey, Doge, you said hunk.
Hey, I did.
Would you tell us why you are the hunk?
So I have stepped out of the sacred timeline. I have breached the containment protocols established by the TVA. And at the second that you're hearing my voice, I'm actually not speaking to you. I am on a plane, if you're listening to this when this comes out. I'm on a plane. I'm flying to Yosemite. But I have a brief layover in the city of sin itself, Las Vegas. And so I wanted to let you guys know that I'll be taking our 2 Chunks LLC debit card and investing all of our podcast earnings in a foolproof plan to triple them. I'm going to land and immediately start sinning in Vegas.
I have a guy that can guarantee the outcome to nearly any college basketball game.
Would you rather have a regular amount of podcast dollars or a very small chance at an insane amount of podcast dollars?
I'd take my chances, man.
That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm doing as we speak. I'm in Las Vegas, in the airport, where all the best gamblers hang out. Me and all the card sharks, we're actually there. Nobody's at the real part of Vegas.
Dude, this actually explains a lot, because I was going to ask why you've been wearing one of those clear green visors so much recently.
I'm trying to get used to it. I'm trying to blend in. I'm going to be really incognito. I'll be like those guys on the poker shows that you see on ESPN 3. I don't know what channel that comes on. Maybe Spike. Feels like Spike, right?
Feels like Spike. I don't know what Spike is, honestly, but it feels like Spike.
You don't know what Spike TV is?
I mean, I've heard of it. I just don't know
I guess you're not a man.
I don't know what it is.
It has an appearance in this movie.
It's TV for men.
TV for boys. Enough of that dumb TV that's not for boys.
You tired of makeup commercials ruining your television? Try Spike TV.
Boom.
They'll show you a commercial for a truck.
It was like that for sure.
Yeah.
Was it?
But they also used to be the only channel that had the rights to play Star Wars on TV. And so I would only watch I would only watch Spike TV. It was when Star Wars was still owned by 20th Century Fox. And I would watch Spike TV once a year for the Star Wars marathons, even though I owned all of them.
Sure. And then the commercials in the middle of Star Wars, it would be like, no, that's impossible. And then it would cut away and it would be like, Axe body spray. Spray it up your butt.
That was so Coach from New Girl.
Oh, man. Turns out I do a pretty mean Damon Wayans Jr. Listen, I'm tired. Listen, video games, Zelda. I'm tired of not talking about this movie. It's the third movie in our Summer of Love series, voted on by you, the listener. And the title of that movie is, of course, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I need to talk about it. So Doge, synopsify us so we may enter into conversation.
Do you ever see, I mean, you guys don't typically mind the depths of IMDb's synopsises, but do you ever see a name where you're like, that is not the name of a human, that has to be the name of a puppet? Like a Muppet style ventriloquist puppet.
Yeah. I know that.
This week's IMDb synopsis was written by Jim Beaver.
Yeah.
Jim Beaver's IMDb username is
that's a Henson creation.
Presumably their email address, and it's jumblejim@emailprovider.net.
Sorry, jungle or jumble?
Jumble.
Oh, man.
Jumble.
Jumble Jim Beaver, the puppet, says.
Sure.
Scott Pilgrim plays in a band which aspires to success. He dates Knives Chow, a high school girl 5 years younger, and he hasn't recovered from being dumped by his former girlfriend, now a success with her own band. When Scott falls for Ramona Flowers, he has trouble breaking up with Knives and tries to romance Ramona. As if juggling two women wasn't enough, Ramona comes with baggage, 7 ex-lovers, with each of whom Scott must do battle to the death in order to win Ramona. Jumble Jim Beaver came ready to go.
Yeah, he sure did.
Jumble knows what he's up to.
Maybe he chewed himself his own pencil.
Out there on the Jumble Jim. You on a Jumble Jim. You on a slab.
The slide.
What else is around?
The Mumby bars.
On the Mumby bars. The Jumble Jim. The slab. It's fun, man. You play some hopscotch.
Hopscotch.
Hey man, did you bring your barbles? You playing barbles? Some backs.
If it were my elementary school time, we would get in trouble for trading Pokeball barbs.
Pokeball barbs.
Wow, hey, this could be the whole episode.
Ooh, let's play some breeze tag.
Breeze tag.
Oh man,
some big ball. Okay, let's get this out of the way, shall we?
Yeah.
Don't date 17-year-olds.
Nope.
And that goes for everybody. Other 17-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 22-year-olds. Just don't date 17-year-olds. But especially, look, I get it's Canada and the sensibilities are probably different. The laws might be different. It's probably okay there, legally speaking. But just don't date 17-year-olds. In fact, honestly, my super dump is how tough it was for me to get past the fact that it's a 22-year-old dating a 17-year-old and to try and like Scott even a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough.
I know, guys, Canada probably's got different laws. I know some places in America, a 22-year-old can technically date a 17-year-old. They still should.
They can here.
Don't
in
do
the
it.
airport where I'm at, in the city of Sin itself, you can date a 17-year-old, even if you're 71. That's actually the only way you can date a 17-year-old if it's reverse 17.
Just don't do it. But yeah, my super dump is that I forgot that was an aspect of the story. It's been a little bit since I've watched this. And as soon as they said it, I was like, no. And so that was tough for me.
I'll hold my super dump, even though it's kind of adjacent to this.
Mine is also adjacent to this.
It's too long of a conversation to start like right at the beginning. I think it would be a downer to jump straight into.
I just figured it would be good with Scott Pilgrim versus the World to start with the disclaimer that Two Chunks and a Hunk doesn't think anyone, including other 17-year-olds, should date 17-year-olds.
For sure. Our opening, when we had Universal and it was in bits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, how often do you think movies do that now? And where do you think it started? Like where we take over Because I know
Yeah, we play with
for all of the 90s and early 2000s, for as long as Disney cartoons had just the Disney and the little star going over the top, that did not ever change. That never changed.
Tarzan, it did.
Okay, and Tarzan, it did.
Tarzan, it is. Tarzan, it's like cut into a tree. It's like wood. That's the first time I remember seeing it. It was like 98, I think.
I feel like
That's probably
20th
Phil
Century
Collins'
Fox, I feel like that's never touched. I feel like that's never changed.
Yeah.
I remember the Warner Brothers logo doing something fun for Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I think it did like a weird, I don't know, but like making it the theme.
It was Wingardium Brotherosa.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Oof.
But yeah, I love from the beginning, just the bit of it already kind of puts you in the, Edgar Wright is really good at that. Letting you know exactly what to expect and what to feel immediately.
But he's so confident and consistent throughout the entire
So
movie
confident.
with that. You know what I
So
mean?
confident.
Always.
So our second, both of the Edgar Wright movies we've talked about on this podcast, this one and Baby Driver, just know exactly what they are from the first frame to the last frame, and they never apologize for it. They never say, okay, here's what I'm going to be. Just get on board. It's just they are what they are the entire time. They
Dude,
yam what they yam.
They yam what they yam.
what they am.
Edgar Wright, I think I've seen every movie he's made. The thing with Edgar Wright is he is never sheepish about what he is doing.
No.
Like, it just seems like he wakes up and is like, I just had an idea for a movie and it is perfect. So let's go ahead and make it.
Yeah,
Just do it. Yeah.
So Edgar Wright is my super pump.
Nice.
Because this is, I don't think I have ever experienced a director write love letters the way that Edgar Wright writes love letters. And write with, Baby Driver is a love letter to like heists and action. Shaun of the Dead is obviously a love letter to zombie movies.
Yeah.
This is a love letter to video games. He's about to do a love letter to horror
Hot Fuzz
movies.
is kind of like Die Hard and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. There's these things that he admires that he wants to put his own spin, but he saturates the things that he loves with the things that he loves. Like, it's just an overload. It's like over the top, incredible, always incredible editing. Like it is throughout. He is kind of, I remember us when we were talking about Baby Driver, just how meticulous he was. Because I think, isn't it Edgar Wright who's like, we don't really get off script too much. Like he doesn't really want to get too, which is funny because when you have Michael Cera and Sean Pegg, wait, no, is that, did I say his name?
Sean Pegg? Simon Pegg.
Simon
That's
Pegg.
right,
Yeah, when you have guys like that are in your movies that kind of do some stuff off the cuff at times. Kevin Spacey even. It's just kind of a...
He does do unpredictable stuff, huh?
He does.
Jeez.
But yeah, I think Edgar Wright is there's got to be a more eloquent term than love letter writer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna retroactively change the wording of my super pump because you've worded it better than me. Essentially, everything you just said, Edgar Wright's also my super pump. I love him, but to me, it's more just like this movie and the way that it presents itself. Things that are on screen, the random Bill Hader narrator voice, all of the different sound effects, the cuts. This movie as a whole package, but Edgar Wright's influence more than anything is my super pump. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and climb on board that train with you, Carter. It's just, wow.
So it's those kinds of things. The narrator, the onomatopoeia on screen. Think like the '60s Adam West Batman.
Those are your
sound
super
effects.
dumps? Yeah.
No, they're. I got into a deep Wikipedia hole for about an hour and a half after watching this movie recently. This time, that it's all about how those types of things, and then the framing that is intentionally created to look like a comic book. This is based on a graphic novel, and so we keep a lot of those types of framing and those types of tools. This is heralded as one of the best examples of a transmedia narrative, a media that is a narrative that is acutely aware of what it is and then pulls in things from other styles of storytelling and doesn't say, hey, this is a video game movie, or hey, this is a comic book movie, or hey, this is an onomatopoeia movie, but it just blends together all these different types of media that we're already familiar with to create a new thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that Wikipedia hole, if you're interested, it's linked on the Scott Pilgrim versus the World Wikipedia page. A lot of it was over my head. It's far more academic than I think we would ever want to talk about on Two Chunks because it's not very funny or fun to listen to, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He is like,
no, that's a great point too.
Edgar Wright is a multi-sport athlete to me. Like he is just jumping from genre to genre and kind of coming in and can make arguments that he's doing certain things better than people who have hung their identity on. Like he's a better Zack Snyder. Like he made a comic book into a movie much better than what we saw with things like Sin City and that's not even Zack Snyder, is it? What did Zack Snyder do that was a straight rip from, like he was trying to do frame for frame? I know.
Sucker Punch?
Watchmen?
Yeah, or Watchmen or anything like that. Like he's just, even visually, there's moments visually that are so much more creative to me and interesting than some of the stuff that I've seen Zack Snyder do.
So many different things.
Yeah.
Like it's so many, like all the anime framing of these fights, you know, when they're just flying through the air and there's like colored blurs behind them.
Just amazing.
Just never ever. That's the thing. This is probably the most unique movie that I have ever seen. There's nothing that's even a little bit like this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun. It's a beautiful mess. It's even the Seinfeld. I mean, we blatantly.
Right? That is the Seinfeld music.
Yeah, they got the rights for that. Yeah. We blatantly spend about 90 seconds in a Seinfeld sitcom. And it's
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's while I don't think you can do this, you couldn't do this without Michael Cera, I think. I almost super pumped the ensemble cast. I think everybody in this movie.
Dude, Kieran Culkin was
he's amazing.
Upon my super pump.
Everybody in this movie does so well. But I do want to go ahead and get my super dump out too. I don't like Scott Pilgrim the person.
No. Yeah.
No.
I don't like that he wins. Like that's what was so interesting to me is like I'm having a blast, but he doesn't sounds so awful. Narratively, it doesn't feel like he deserves any of the good things that happened to him.
Right.
He doesn't deserve
intentional, but I am with you.
Right, but maybe if it's intentional, maybe I shouldn't be super dumping. I don't want to
I think
super dump on something that's intentional, but I love Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim. I don't like the character that he's playing.
Right.
And that's tough because I think
he's so selfish.
We just talked about Loki yesterday, right? Like we're not supposed to like Loki, but I do like Loki. You know what I'm saying? Like there's qualities to him that I'm like, you know what, man? I see glimpses of you deserving this. Specifically when Scott, and we're supposed to be frustrated at him, but when he's just on Ramona's case about not telling him about these 7 exes, what a little whine. I'm just like.
He's just so possessive in a way that's very gross.
I'm just out.
Yeah.
And I part of the reason I was really trying to hold back earlier on is the dating of the 17-year-old and how disrespectful our protagonist is to women. Just in general. Yeah. It's just awful. And he shouldn't get Ramona in the end. Like he shouldn't get anybody. He should be alone. I just don't like Scott Pilgrim. But I also love the movie Scott Pilgrim. It's just a funny experience.
Dude,
and,
scene where he confronts Nega Scott and then they walk out of the building together and he's like, they got this crazy French toast and he goes, what does he say? He's like, oh, I'm liking that. He's a cool guy. We're going to get brunch.
Did y'all, so that's a very, very like video. This whole thing is, but I feel like Nega Scott is the video gamist thing
like
of all.
Dark Link,
the secret final boss.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all's wives watch with you?
Mm-hmm.
Are they video game folk, or are they perhaps an immigrant to the kingdom of video games?
Callie has been through enough with me to get most of this stuff.
That's the Nega Scott is the moment that totally was not for Jess.
Oh yeah.
She was like, "Can you why is he gray?" I was like, "Well, in sometimes you have to fight yourself." And she was like, "I don't think I understand that." And I was like, "So you know Dark Link?" And she was like, "Oh, no." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's kind of him, but the evil version of it."
Yep. I literally said, it's like Dark Link. And Callie was like, oh, yeah. because we've played Ocarina of Time, so that helps.
Chelsea, Chelsea and I have seen this movie together before, though our the most recent time it wasn't together. But I think she just has a certain awareness of her interests that she won't even like.
She won't even ask.
She won't even ask. She's like,
this answer is not for me.
I don't want to know. I don't even care.
So Jess watched with me and had no idea what this was.
Had no idea.
She had no idea.
It's me, Scott Pilgrim.
No idea.
Really?
And so it was like, when we started the Bollywood fight, when he started singing, she looked at me. She was like, "Hey, real quick, what is this movie?"
You mean when he fights Shivrang, Cece's fiance from New Girl?
That's who it was.
So good.
Max Patel.
Dude, his email, it's come to my attention that we will be fighting soon.
Oh my goodness.
Scott,
so
when Scott does it's boring.
It's so boring.
Dude, the editing, yes. The Bollywood fight scene, like, man,
that's the moment where it really breaks for me. Where it not in a bad way. I'm not saying it's bad there, but that's the moment where it just fully is like, hey, this is going to be weird.
It's about to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even before that, you see a little bit, even though Edgar Wright, the theme here is that he continues to kind of like dabble in things and do them in the top tier of anybody who's ever done them.
Yeah.
But doing the stylized words on the screen. We've seen stuff like that before. We get
the P bar, we get the music from the fairy fountain while he's going to the bathroom.
I think about the P bar a lot.
Did you appreciate?
Dude, there's Zelda fairy fountain music like 4 times in this movie.
Yeah. So we get that a lot. But you're right. At that moment, it's like, okay, this is
going to be
a completely different experience. And I love that we don't really even address too much, except like sarcastically. Like, it's not in his mind. He's not imagining. These things are actually happening. And there's people. There's just people watching.
Yep.
And it feels like it kind of feels like our guide is Culkin's character, right? Like, it almost feels like he's always there. He's kind of funny. It's funny. He's kind of like this master Jedi in a sense of like,
right.
Have you thought of this? Have you tried that? Have you done this?
Scott, look out. It's that one guy.
So maybe this is all a video game that Kieran Culkin is playing.
I'm in.
And maybe Ferris Bueller is a figment of Cameron's imagination.
Oh my goodness gracious.
There are so many directors that you can watch their movies, especially when they have like Edgar Wright is funny because even though so many of his movies are so different, like you can feel it. Like you know exactly that's him. You could say like this is a Spielberg, this is a Villeneuve, this is a Del Gorbo.
Diego.
But there's something about an Edgar Wright movie that feels like no one else could come close.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so.
Because there can be like, I can imagine you watching something and being like, okay, they're trying really hard to make a movie like Nolan would.
Sure. Yes.
Or man, they really are leaning in on this whole Spielberg thing right now. They can't do it. Don't touch it. But I don't think who's going to try?
JJ.
Who's going to try to do an Edgar Wright movie? I can only like in terms of pacing, Guy Ritchie feels like someone who has a quick,
maybe
funny, witty pace like this, but it's not as
maybe a Shane Black could get us.
It's not
close.
as tied. It's not as tied to a narrative. It's not as tied to a feeling as
it's not
Edgar
fully
Wright is.
integrated in the transmedia way of like Baby Driver. Even is a great example of like every scene choreographed to the song he's listening to dancing through the street in the opening, and the lyrics are showing up on set. Like it's just nothing is that fully integrated.
The closest I can think of, and it's not that close, just the closest that I can think of is Taika Waititi, sort of how his movies have a general feel throughout the whole thing and you feel very unapologetic for what they're doing. It's not the same thing necessarily, but I think
it is that same uniquity though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's sort of a very specific flavor and signature on each movie.
Yeah. Mass Super Pump.
Yeah. I'd love that.
We haven't said anything good about this movie. I figure I want to change that. It's Michael Cera.
Okay.
I absolutely, undyingly love Michael Cera in every single thing. There's just something about him that is unique to me that makes him the funniest person for me to watch. Like, there's nothing that he does that I don't think is the funniest thing in this movie.
You know, he's got great timing.
I feel like
oh my gosh.
I feel like Michael Cera is the poster child for a character type. I feel like when Superbad came out, and then obviously he gets the beautiful runway that is Arrested Development. But
yes.
I can't think of, it's like, yes, there's always going to be some proof of like, well, there was someone before him, but Michael Cera owns awkward in the movie business. He owns, he's got an absolute finger on it. And other people have obviously done awkward. That, you know, that tends to be charm of a lot of protagonists in movies and side characters. But I really, he owns it. I don't think anybody does it like Michael Cera does.
Completely agree. Nobody else, in the same way that nobody can do what Edgar Wright's doing here, I don't think anybody can do what Michael Cera's doing here. The closest, honestly, that I think I've ever seen is Kyle Mooney with his sort of awkward character that he can do.
That feels like a caricature of Michael Cera, though. You know, it's like
it's awkward in a similar way, but it doesn't feel like Michael Cera usually feels like a real person I could know. And Kyle's feels like
that's it, right?
A caricature of somebody.
Mm-hmm. Michael Cera's brand of on-screen awkward is not the quirky LOL, I'm so random type awkward. It's not awkward because they say like out of context weird stuff and we're supposed to be like, haha, they're so quirky and random. Like his awkwardness comes from mannerism and the way that he speaks. And he's not like that in real life. Like that is just an incredible acting job. It's not just like he's just being Michael Cera. Like Michael Cera is a real person, like a normal dude.
That could be
just incredible.
That could be a fun character analysis of like, go find manifestations of like feelings and put the actor to the feeling. Cause it's like Michael Cera is awkward. Steve Buscemi is slimy. It's like, there's like, I'm trying to think of other people that can just own a feeling about something.
Personify an adjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah. That's cool.
I agree with you. And that's why I was having such a hard time with like, not a hard time with, my super dump felt like no super dump has.
Right.
Because I absolutely love Michael Cera. And this feels like, if I was to ever, I'm just going to cheat and say there's a tie. I can't put it above Arrested Development, nor can I put his character in Arrested Development above this performance. I feel like I just want to say they tie in terms of how much I enjoy them.
Right.
But yeah, it can't happen without him.
Right.
I can't touch a piece of bread without in my brain thinking, bread makes you fat? This movie has burned several of those things onto my medulla oblongata.
Yep.
Can we take a moment and talk about this movie lost money?
So dumb.
Yeah.
This movie lost worldwide.
Look at the cast.
Almost $20 million.
I mean, I feel like this is the definition of sort of a cult following.
Yeah, it definitely
like, this is not for very many people, but for the people that it is for, it's exactly
like
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's what cult following, I guess some definition to that can be it just didn't do well in theaters, right? Because I guess there's also cult followings for things that did well in theaters. I don't know. Other cult movies.
I was under the assumption that a cult
can you have a cult
movie
following for something that didn't do good in theater?
Right,
that's
what I'm trying to figure out. I don't think
Avengers doesn't have a cult following. People just like it.
It just has a following. Yeah.
It just has cults. People that would die for
cults.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think I guess other cult movies that we've done have been movies like almost anything Jake Gyllenhaal's touched. Donnie Darko, Nightcrawler.
Princess Bride.
Felt like it a little bit. Yeah. Princess Bride. Just ages well.
Yeah.
But I think Scott Pilgrim had a re-release in theaters. I was trying to...
Did it?
A lot of the times there is unfortunate release dates for movies. I think when the movie theaters begin to get really crowded, especially now, you know, you look at the summer, there's like, it used to just be summer blockbuster, but now there's summer and fall. And then Black Panther came in February several years ago. And it's like, well, everything's on the table. A blockbuster could be released at any time. So I tried to do some research in 2010. It's like, what around 2010 was happening that maybe could have overshadowed. There was not really anything the same month as when Scott Pilgrim was released. Scott Pilgrim was released.
Inception that year too?
Inception, Toy Story 3. There was Shutter Island. There were some definitely bigger movies. And obviously,
Leo did Inception and Shutter Island in the same year.
Uh-huh.
Jeez.
Who gave him permission? That's wild.
I know. Big time. But
wasn't that also Iron Man 2 that year?
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah. So it was, yes, it wasn't as crowded as we might see things today, but that's because that was a decade ago. But
yeah.
I was really surprised to see that it didn't make, and that's a lot of that is you have a better chance of losing money if you spend a lot of money. So it is a $60 million movie, which at that time was I think the most Edgar Wright ever had budget wise.
Wow.
And probably 20 million of that went to the rights of using the bass riff from Seinfeld. I imagine Jerry got a lot of money for that.
Yeah,
probably. I have an interesting discussion that I'd like for us to enter into, but first we do have to go.
Man, what a sequel tease.
I know.
The Pod Boys will return
in the second half of this one. This one's shout announcements. So that's the new Shout Announcements theme song. If you haven't heard it yet, we worked so hard on the theme song to the main show that we just didn't have time to work on the Shout Announcements theme song.
This is all the juice we had left.
That's all we got. But it's still good. It's still good. A lot of people are really loving it. Look, we got some cool stuff in the hopper.
The Happa.
Look, I want to cordially invite you, yes, you, dear listener, to join us on Patreon. Why? You're probably asking why. Carter, tell them why.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why. The cheapest reason why, which is only $3 a month, is to catch bonus episodes. We actually have a handful of bonus episodes. Some of the bonus. The great thing about the $3, and I'm not trying to encourage you to wait for 10 years and then join our $3 level. But the cool thing about it is that $3 becomes more and more valuable. So say you've never been on Patreon. As soon as you spend that $3, you're unlocking the Two Chunks vault. And there's a lot of episodes waiting for you. So if you've blown through our 300 plus episodes, there's even...
First off, take a break. Go outside.
Are you
Unless
okay?
You've been listening outside.
Are you okay?
In which case, cool.
There's even more waiting for you. And Summer of Love, as we're going through this, you're like, you know what, Scott Pilgrim, I don't know if that would have been my pick. You found out maybe you get to vote on these certain series. There's actually some pretty massive influence that our Patreon members have with that second vote. We have seen that second vote, specifically within our two most recent series, make the difference between whether or not we talk about a movie. It really has. So if you want to have a little bit of that extra influence that maybe your local government can't give you with just the one vote that you're born with, here's
Two Chunks and a Hunk. Better than the local government.
Better than the local government. And then the next level up is something that's becoming more and more special as we're really getting to curate a community of those extra chunky ones out there. For $2 more per month, you get to join our Discord chat, which has several wonderful channels in it. Something that used to be alive is now dead, and hopefully it stays that way. Over there in Patreon, really big time stays that way.
You're just invoking its name right now is all you're doing. You're just invoking its presence.
Invoking its name. But if you want to come over and have some conversations there, listen, I am so in love with the fandom of Two Chunks and a Hunk. It has become, that Discord channel recently has become a source before my normal sources tell me about new things.
That's true.
Isn't that fun?
Real.
It's like we've kind of tapped into this community and this web of people that got the scoop before I do.
I thought the coolest part of Patreon was going to be us getting to talk to the patrons. What I'm learning so quickly is that my favorite part is that it's just functioning as a group chat for people that love movies.
Yeah, it's real fun.
It's making me really, really happy.
But every conversation is interesting too, because it's you don't even have to be actually a part of the conversation. You can just be a viewer and really get a lot out of that content. It's been a great. So for that $5 a month, so that means if you already are a patron at the $3 level, it's not even the same commitment that you had at the beginning. It's $2 more to reach that next level. But we've got even more special stuff planned in the future. Anybody want to tackle?
I would love that. You know what? That seems uniquely tailored to my skill set.
Take us to the bridge, you know?
That we're doing. Well, as you know, it's time for love. It's time for love. Time is the key word here. We're watching Loki right now, a show all about time. And if there's one thing that I know about time, it's comprised of 3 parts. That's the past, the present, and the future. Now, let's say hypothetically, I hopped in a fast car and drove really fast all the way to the past. Where would I need to go? I would need to go back to the future to get home. So for Patreon, we're trying something a little new, a little funky, a little fresh. We're going to be embarking on a little Back to the Future series over on Patreon. So if you love the timeless temporal antics of Doc Brown and Marty McFly, the only way to hear us talk about those is over on Patreon. And you can get those bonus episodes if you're part of the $3 a month tier, the part of the $5 a month tier. Those will be a little bit of an intermittent release schedule. Not going to promise every week, but I'm also not going to promise only one a month. We might do more, might do less. You'll just have to hop over there and find out. But we will be talking about Back to the Future for our bonus episodes for the next few bonus episodes. So I'm super duper excited about that.
Yeah.
It would be a real Biff move not to get on our Patreon.
I don't even get that. I don't even know that reference. Yeah, if you want to hear me experience these classics for the first time, because I've never seen them.
Yeah.
I honestly can't believe that.
Oh, well. Never seen them.
Are you planning on watching them?
No, I'm still not going to watch them for Patreon, so that'll be fun.
Good.
Don't. Yeah, I think it's better that way.
Cool.
I'd like to enter into a discussion.
Great.
Awesome. That's why I'm on this call.
I woke up ready for this.
Let's pick any of them. Just let's start
what I put on my calendar today.
Oh, okay.
No. So I'm so glad Scott Pilgrim made this list. I'm so glad we got to watch it and talk about it. I love this movie. Is this a romance movie? And I'm not saying it doesn't belong here. I'm just saying, is this a romance movie?
It's tricky to me because the whole time I was watching this, I was like, man, I wish we'd saved this for a video game movie series.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, technically, yes.
I mean, we put it on the list for votes. So
we did.
Obviously, we thought it belonged.
We only have ourselves to blame. I think that's related to my super dump. I promise I'm not going to grab the steering wheel from you and take us in too different a direction, but can I super dump right now?
Do it.
Sure.
My super dump is how, and get ready, I'm about to sound like an old grandpa, how disrespectful this movie is. It's just incredibly disrespectful.
It's wearing its hat backwards and skateboarding through the local
short
park.
Sleeves in church and no belt. No, but it's like... It's like pretty disrespectful to Knives Chow, both about her age and her race. It's like pretty disrespectful about Kieran Culkin's sexuality and stereotypes in some ways that are maybe not awesome. But I think the crux of where the disrespect lies is that Ramona is a prize to be won.
Right.
Which just sucks. And I think that would be the thing that would make me say, hey, it's not a romance movie because she's a stuffed animal in a claw machine. She's not a person who will make her own choice.
It's kind of a gross conquest movie.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty in that way.
Yeah.
I the phrase, I remember when it was big to talk about this a while ago. The manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
It was a big thing to talk about. I'm not sure that she is truly that. I think there's some criteria there that she doesn't necessarily meet. Like I think they're supposed to be kind of flawless. Like I feel like that's a little more like Summer from 500 Days of Summer.
Yes.
That kind of thing. But just sort of this larger than life only exists to become a goal for the main character.
Yes.
And she, I mean, I love the explanation of why she doesn't have much agency with the chip in the back of her neck. I feel like that's almost making fun of itself in a self-aware kind of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree with you. The romance is hard to exist considering one of them is with a 17-year-old high schooler and the other is with just sort of this idealized trophy in Scott's brain.
Sure. I mean, she's a prize at the end of a video game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's Peach, it's Zelda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think what made this and again, we make our own rules out here. what made this a romance option, like a romance movie, was the central part of the narrative was.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about.
That.
Right.
Yeah. But
I agree.
It's a good
I
question.
agree. I was just curious.
It's an interesting question, yeah.
Because it is so different to every other romance movie on this list, like completely different.
Yeah.
And so I was just interested to see kind of where we landed on its placement.
I'm so glad we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
had no hopes of ever watching this or fitting it in because it's so unique. Like, where do you put this with other movies
incredibly niche
to make sense of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
When Ramona pulls the giant hammer out of her tiny purse, I giggled.
It's very good. Very
It's so
good.
fun.
And the fight scene where she swings Scott's body so that he's not the one punching her girlfriend.
Her?
Who is also his girlfriend from Arrested Development. Egg.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Her?
Hey, we have
the best joke about her is in the worst season of Arrested Development in season 4, when she gets married at the church, and the church's logo is a shepherd's crook, and it's the Church of the Holy Eternal Resurrection, and they have HER ? In the background of her, like HER shepherd's hook ? In the background of her wedding. It's the best joke in the worst season.
That's so funny. We've got 2 captains.
Yes.
In this movie.
Yes, we do.
That's a lot of fun. I love how small of a role Chris Evans has.
I know.
I almost super pumped the extremely weird way that Chris Evans is holding his eyebrows in every scene of this movie. It is so funny.
He felt like he was having some of the most fun.
Oh my gosh.
Any of the actors.
It's got to be a joy to play that role.
But yeah, the fact that like just the creative ways in which I love like an epic of like, here's how I beat this foe, and here's how I beat this foe, and here's because it is very video gamey, but the really unique ways. Our first fight, Max Patel was like an actual fight. I think that and Gideon are kind of like the only fights, like the only
Scott earned the power of self-respect.
Yes, it's just so good. But yeah, Chris Evans with the doubles and grinding, like all the way down this incredible.
I don't know why
thingy
when he's
on
walking
that rail.
Can you do a grind thingy?
Do you can tell Edgar Wright trusts Michael Cera so much.
Yes.
Because he gives him like the full screen. Like he is everything.
Yep.
Yes.
A guy who can do whatever he wants editing wise and through cinematography just decides to give you the screen like it's a monologue in Les Mis. Like, this dude trusts the heck out of this kid.
Absolutely.
And I love it. The cuts
Chris
in that same scene of the the back and forth, like he just keeps going, wow.
Like his throat is closed completely. So yeah, this is actually a perfect time. We haven't discussed a lot of the humor specifically in this movie. When the editing and the script and the performance are all fighting for my favorite thing about the comedy, that's a pretty magical delivery. Like,
oh yeah,
yes.
All of our cuts from scene to scene, the way that we choose to use the words on screen and the visual elements, the performances of our characters, the actual script itself are all so funny that I genuinely don't feel like I can decide on what the best thing is.
Yeah.
For me.
Everything is such a influential player in an Edgar Wright movie.
Yep.
Yes.
The camera, the music, everything is we've talked before about like I wish the soundtrack could have been nominated for best supporting actor, or like I wish the cinematography could be a best supporting actress, or like because it just plays and again it feels literal. Like yes, of course the camera plays a role in the making of a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thoughtfulness. And that's why I think I'm calling it a love letter. Like the thoughtfulness of Edgar Wright is everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the romance.
There it is. That's the romance
between Ed and video games.
We could be.
This is the only movie I can think of that's shot in Toronto and admits that it's shot in Toronto. Toronto often doubles for New York City, like downtown Toronto does. We get a nod to that whenever he's thrown through that paper backdrop of the Chris Evans movie that's New York City, and he's thrown through and it rips and reveals the Toronto skyline.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so I really appreciated that. A lot of movies are shot here, but this is the only one that has the courage to admit
Just
that it's
call
shot
it
here.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, and he even says at one point, he's like, they shoot movies in Toronto? Like,
Yep.
oh, man. Yeah, and so the scene at the party when he realizes that Ramona is American and he like idolizes the fact that she's American.
Yeah.
We get a lot of nods to like the Canadian-ness of what's happening here. But
his drawing of Ramona.
Dude,
looks like this.
Oh, does she look like? Oh my goodness!
And the
Remind
guy
me of the
knows
leprechaun in Mobile, Alabama.
exactly. Yeah, the guy knows exactly who he's talking about too.
Yes.
The performance by hold on, I don't know her name off the top of my head. Give me a second. Relax. Jeez, Ellen Wong, Knives Chow.
Hey, she does a great job.
She's so good.
She does a great job.
When she's freaking out and she's on the bed.
2B for me. She's the 2B. She's behind Kieran and
Kieran.
Michael Cera. Kieran, yeah. Who would have thought that I would have leaned in more than their parents did to the Irishness of the Culkin brother name? Like,
no kidding.
Kieran.
Kieran Culkin.
Mick O'Kiernan.
I also want to say that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is fantastic in pretty much everything I've seen her in.
She's still she's managed to stay underrated.
I agree.
I think so too.
I mean, after Sky High, who could? But I'm also realizing this very well may have been the first movie I ever saw Anna Kendrick in.
I think before I knew who she was. Yes.
Yeah. No, for me. Did Twilight come out before this?
Oh, she was.
You know
Twilight,
what it did.
She?
You know what it did.
That's
she also
the first
forgot
Anna
that she was in
Yeah,
Twilight.
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see it when it came out, so this was still probably the first time I saw her and knew who she was.
I mean, there's not really a reason to cover that up. Like, you don't have to lie about that. Like, you don't have to lie.
I was there.
Weren't in the seat.
I was shirtless, painted myself with body glitter to be like one of the vampires.
By the way, if y'all are new to Two Chunks, like new as in like you've joined within the last year and missed our Twilight series,
definitely go listen to that. Definitely
shout out. That was some of the most fun I've had on this podcast was the Twilight series.
Can I be honest? Can I be really honest?
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch Twilight again.
Mm-mm.
It's just so bad.
It's so bad that it's fun.
Yeah, this was 2 years before. Kendrick had done Twilight 2 years before.
God.
Hang on, Carter, say that again because Jordan passed away while you were saying that. Hang on.
Kieran had Anna Kendrick 2008 was Twilight.
Okay, so 2 years before.
2 years before.
I breathed some sort of foreign substance.
Wait, we're going to keep all that in?
No, we don't have to keep any of it in. Dude, it feels like I breathed a bug.
If you keep coughing that hard, you're going to die and turn into coins.
I think so.
And I will spend you here at the airport in Sin City.
Whew.
Anna's launch pad would be pitch perfect, I would argue.
Yes, I agree.
Which would be 2 years. Two years after Scott Pilgrim. So
one could almost argue that beyond voice acting, not a ton since. You know, you've got Noelle
since then. Noelle.
She's done Noelle. She did
Mike and Dave Need Wedding Day.
The one with Blake Lively.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Deal. No. Simple Favor.
It kind of makes fun of Gone Girl. Yeah.
A Simple Favor. Yeah. You know, she's done some stuff. I feel like she is more talented than the job she is receiving.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm. I'm always pretty impressed with her.
Oh, this might have been my first Aubrey Plaza, though.
I was just about to ask about that. Was this pre-Parks and Rec?
No.
No?
No.
Yes, it was.
No.
You're saying that without knowing it.
2010 is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Parks and Rec started in, I believe, 2008 or 9.
Is that what IMDb says? Because it's usually pretty decisive.
2009.
Interesting.
Let's find somebody that it was a first for us.
It was my first Kieran O'Kiernan McCulkin.
No, it wasn't. He's in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
I've never seen that one.
That's a lie.
It is not a lie.
You've never seen Home Alone 2?
I've never seen Home Alone 2. I've seen Home Alone 1. but I just felt the story was over. So I didn't watch Home Alone 2.
Oh, it's not over.
Here's the thing, Chunkies, for all the times in our lives that, especially, I think we were all known as movie people before we had a movie podcast. So for as many times as we get irritated when someone's like, you haven't seen that, we do it to each other all the time.
Yeah, totally.
We do it to each other all the time.
We do it a lot. Can we talk about Jason Schwartzman for a second and how he's always good in everything?
This was my first Jason Schwartzman.
There you go. That's fair.
Tell me why it wasn't now. Tell me what I've watched that he's in before this.
Did you see Rushmore?
No.
Okay.
No. Actually,
I'm not going to try.
I don't even think we ever should have built that. That land didn't belong to us.
That's true.
That song, I love that song. It's like, this land is your land. This land is your land. This land is your land. But we're going to take it, because we're monsters. Anyway, Jason Schwartzman, I think, is funny in everything I've ever seen him do.
Do you guys think Vector from Despicable Me was modeled after Jason Schwartzman? Because you can't convince me that he wasn't. And I did accidentally just call him Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman. He's not Princess Diaries, right? That's the other Schwartzman.
Princess Diaries.
Schwartzman.
Are you thinking of Anne Hathaway?
Oh, I get them confused a lot. You're probably thinking of Anne Hathaway.
So Jason Schwartzman is the one in Les Mis.
Les Mis?
Yeah, he sings I Dreamed a Dream.
He sings I Dreamed a Dream. He won an Oscar for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anne Hathaway plays Gideon in this movie.
Get out.
Yeah.
No, that's Daniel
not that
Kaluuya.
movie. That's Daniel Kaluuya and Allison Williams. Bradley Whitford.
Hold up. Oh, that's Robert Schwartzman, his brother. His younger brother is Michael.
Wait, really? Wait,
Moskowitz.
We've done this. We've had this conversation.
Wait,
we have.
Really?
Yes. They look identical.
Yeah, they do. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Jason Schwartzman, he
That's
looks
Robert.
like Ashton Kutcher and Jason
He looks like
Schwartzman
Ashton Kutcher
had
in
a
that
babe,
picture,
a wee babe.
100%.
So Jason Schwartzman neither fixes cars nor plays guitar
Right.
or eats M&Ms off of keyboards.
Yeah, and
He is great.
That's Jason Schwartzman.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that was for those of you listening and not watching. So everybody that's not us,
which is all of you.
That was just an IMDb image of Mandy Moore.
We have to have stuff just for us,
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Take that out. Nobody needs to
I'm
know.
going to delete what you explained what that was. That's just for me.
That's just us. That's
That's just for y'all. Now it's not special.
It is time to rate this movie.
What?
I know it. Is there something else you need to get off your chest real quick?
No, I need to rate the movie.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I need to.
we're going to rate it using science. It's perfect because it's the scientific cinema scale, and it goes a little something like this. The best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it. Buy
that poster.
The next best thing is buy it. That's followed by rent it, and then stream it. After that is forget it, and last, but certainly least, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie.
God hath forsaken us.
As much as I think that Scott Pilgrim himself is gross,
Sure.
I think the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is one in which I would like to have the poster.
Sure.
I am going to buy the poster. I tend to buy the poster also for things that are a unique experience. Like, while this will conjure up some feelings I've had before in the past that like make me happy and make me laugh, nothing really does it quite like this movie does. And so it's a poster buy.
I've noticed that about your poster buys. It's either really great movie that I love, or it's outstanding achievement that will never be replicated.
Yeah.
For me, although I think the central conceit of this movie and the quite literal objectification turning Ramona into an object to be won in a contest is quite yucky, the movie's fantastic. I'm going to buy the poster for this.
We didn't talk about Brandon Routh, and that's a shame.
Hey, he's always good to me.
Who is he?
The vegan.
He's the vegan.
Oh, the whole vegan scene was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really great with the vegan police. Why did we not talk about that?
The vegan police. He went to the vegan academy.
That's so funny.
Like,
He's vegan.
his whole thing is so great. I think he's hilarious.
Hey, he's a great Superman. I'm going to get on here and say that. He was a fantastic Superman in Superman Returns. He's also Superman in some of the Crisis stuff on CW now.
Sure. Look, I'm buying the poster for this movie. Scott Pilgrim is incredible. It's got its flaws. So do I. I'd buy my own poster. So I would definitely buy the poster for this. I think it is weirdly timeless. I think it is.
It is weirdly timeless, but also incredibly 2010.
Yes, big time.
That's so funny. Yeah,
as evidenced by probably some of the like disrespect that I'm feeling. We didn't even talk about, we get the R slur, which is something that just makes me turn inside out.
Yeah, I don't love that. And it's very
2010
casual.
Though.
It is
very 2010. That casual R slur makes me want to explode into a big pile of coins.
Yeah, I'm buying the poster for this movie. In fact, I like the poster. Sometimes it doesn't play into it. Poster. Yeah, it doesn't play into it, but it helps.
Yeah, that's how Phantom Menace was for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm dying with that. I'm going to die with that.
This is my Phantom Menace. Scott Pilgrim is my Phantom Menace.
No, it's not.
That's what people say.
Revenge of the Sith is your Phantom Menace.
That's true. I love Revenge of the Sith.
Actually, probably Attack of the Clones is my Phantom Menace. That was the first Star Wars I saw in theaters.
That's so fun.
I think it was also the first Star Wars I saw in theaters. We've done this. We've absolutely done this.
Have a whole episode about it, I'm sure.
This is a retread, without a doubt. Look, that's Scott Pilgrim. That's Scott Pilgrim, baby, as they say in show business.
As they say in Toronto.
That's Scott Pilgrim, baby. Hope you loved it as much as we did. Let us know. Jump on Discord. Let's have a discussion about it. The movie rules. I want to make sure that you know that we are continuing the Summer of Love for Time for Love series next week. Wait, no, we got one more before it's Fast 9. We got one more before we break down for Fast 9.
You're correct.
One more podcast sleep.
One more podcast sleep.
One more sign off. Jordan, what are we talking about next week?
I can't remember, actually. What's the next one?
About Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which neither of y'all have seen.
Correct. I have not seen either of these last two Time for Love movies.
Same.
Very excited.
Wow.
Heard a lot of good stuff about Time. My brother says it's his favorite.
Wow.
Ever?
And he hates movies.
Romantic movie,
crazy.
at least.
Oh, wow. It's very popular on our Discord channel as well.
Yeah, a lot of people really saying they love it. So I'm excited to watch that one.
This is probably a top 5 movie for my wife.
Nice.
If not her favorite movie ever.
I'm never going to be sad about Domhnall Gleeson. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Even when he is Hux.
Domhnall Gleeson sounds like someone trying to say Liam Neeson that just got hit really hard in the head.
Yes.
My favorite Domhnall Gleeson movie where he's like, I got particular
Domhnall Gleeson
skills.
is to Liam Neeson as Diego del Gorbo is to Guillermo del Toro.
I know.
They're the same universe.
Del Gorbo is not even a real person.
That's true. Maybe. That we know of.
Yeah, as far as
remember if you're a patron to keep your patron peepers peeped for Back to the Future.
Peep that is those coming, patron peepers.
That is coming soon. I cannot in good conscience promise a date when that will arrive on your doorstep.
But it
ready
is
for your
tomorrow.
Consumption.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it is coming soon. Not tomorrow, but soon.
Hey, a fun moment really quick to share here live on the podcast. I searched Diego del Gorbo.
Yeah.
And this was the first thing that popped up.
Of course it's us, because I don't know that those letters have ever appeared in that exact sequence outside of our brains.
So,
and the one person at a party who told me he loved Diego del Gorbo.
So if anybody ever Googles Diego del Gorbo,
you'll find us.
Yeah, it's just two chunks all the way down.
Hey, let's sign off.
Let's sign off. To end today's episode, I'd like for each of us to say our name and what our weapon would be when we earned the power of self-respect.
Cool.
For 2 Chunks and a Hunk, my name is Jordan Wonders, and my power, when Jordan earns the power of self-respect, would be the boomerang from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, the one that has a tornado with it. I like that.
I'm Doge. And when I earn the power of self-respect, that power manifests as a down B shield that reflects projectiles. Awesome. Sort of a I'm rubber, you're glue, bounces off me and sticks to you situation. I respect myself too much to believe any of the mean things that Gideon would say about me.
Wow, that's nice.
That's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
I'm Carter. You did get a lot of support for that one.
You guys like really proud of me. Thank you.
I just
I'm
Carter. To
Carter.
hear you say you believe in yourself.
And almost like a speeding heartbeat, you would start to slowly hear this like bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 bum, and then I just get this hammer.
Yep.
This massive 3 times my size and weight hammer, and just blindly
swing it from
violently
the waist.
rock back and forth.
Nothing has brought more anxiety to a young Carter than someone getting a hold of the hammer in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, run! Like, you just gotta, like, I have to get away. Or more anger and just when you fall off the map with the hammer. It's just crazy.
It do be like
people
that.
People don't know you can hit the
like
grab button to throw that thing. That's what people don't understand.
Soars on wings like eagles, singing from above. If all that we have left is time, I think it's time for love.
If you're addicted to love, get ready to binge your heart out. Stream exclusive originals plus the entire 90-day universe for just $4.99. Discovery Plus is the streaming home of relationships, plus so much more. Start your free trial